Kay and I conceived of the street retreats when we were walking ourselves in the Tenderloin when we first came to know each other and anticipated working together. And we were just asking ourselves the question, how is it that we came to have the passion and the commitment to work with people in places like the Tenderloin, or I had just come from Nicaragua also. And we just realized that it was the personal experiences and the personal relationships with people that we felt that longing, really, to be faithful, to be responsive to what we were seeing. So rather than try to tell people about that, was to create a way for people to come into relationship themselves with, or else break through the glass wall of fear that, the Tenderloin represents those places of any city or any person that we're told not to go into. And so it's to come in a reflective manner rather than a service relationship where here I'll serve the food for you, but I never have to cross a barrier or give the attention to what's going through my mind or who's going through my mind or what of my own experiences are going through my mind. So we created the street retreat just in that. It's a retreat, just as if we were to go to the mountains or the lakes or oceans, as a time of reflection. So our retreat happens in the center here of the city, or we've done it in other cities, especially if a congregation is saying, how do we be in relationship with what's going on around our place? So the retreat is taking a day. We begin in a circle up at the First Unitarian Universalist Church, but it's the hill where the Baptists, the Lutherans, the Catholics, the UUs, the Unions are all on that one block. So we begin there and walk down into the Tenderloin, and then people spend a day from like 10 to 3 in the community of the Tenderloin and just paying attention to what is it that I see here. What's it reflect back to me of my own experience, or who does it bring to mind? And whatever it is that comes up. And people will move through the food lines to eat rather than be on the other side to serve. So as I'm standing in line, who am I standing here with? What am I seeing? And then we come together at the end of the day to just share, what have we noticed? What's arisen inside of me? What did I notice about the way I think? We walk with the mantra, what holds me separate? What keeps me separated as I walk the streets? What still connects me? So we come back and do a reflection and share soup and bread. And then from there, people have an opportunity to do an extended retreat of 7 days. And for me, what that has meant is just, I can imagine what it is to be on the streets, or I can think I have all of these resources available to me, but I really don't know my own limits. So it's very necessary information, especially as a person working in a so-called service ministry, is to understand how quickly one's physical energy, emotional energy, psychological energy becomes taxed. So we who go out there begin in a relatively strong state, and to watch our slow chipping away at what we think is so strong inside of us becomes necessary information when we're working with people in very vulnerable states, to think, well, why aren't they just able to do things like that? Why can't they just go over into that, service provider and get what they need? It really reinforces for me the need for companionship, somebody walking with you, and you get to a place of, I can't do it. I've spent all my energy trying to figure out how to get into the shelter or not get into the shelter or get to the food. So you just very quickly are reduced to meeting your needs at the moment, and it's very hard to think further ahead. And that's vital information for us. So we do that annually to just remember. Like if I feel myself getting too far away from that understanding, I feel compelled to go back into the streets to remember, for my whole body to remember, not just my mind. So if people want us to do street retreats, they can call us at Faithful Fools and organize it as a group. We also do what we call hometown street retreats, and so go to places. We've gone to different places in the country. We've also done them in Nicaragua, in the barrios of Nicaragua. And I also say it's just, like, it's not really about homelessness. It's about any place where we separate ourselves. So the same concept of noticing what's separating me from a person and what's blocking me from responding, one can do in a prison setting, one can do on a reservation, any community that you feel you're disconnected from. And so I did a street retreat in Minneapolis, and two of the people on the street retreats ended up spending their whole day sitting in the grocery store of a Muslim couple. And it's the first time they had ever sat down and just communicated, just visited with people from the Muslim religion. And so that was their retreat, and a necessary one at this point in time, to just recognize, as we say, discover our common humanity on the streets.